Alrighty, folks, with the guitars and the drums and the music fading out, we'd like to welcome you back to another game of Remember Me just Overwatch. Yeah, just Overwatch. The team playing today is, of course, you saw before, Remember Me versus the Raiders here. Our starting lineup is as followed. You have the two dynamic duo of Raza Jericho leading the DPS line. Neptune, of course, bringing the Zarya, and Sam and Nightmare are going to be rounding out this back line. And it looks like we're going to Nepal here for the first game of the series here against Wright. I forgot to turn all of my things back on, so we can turn those on. Let's let you see it. There we go. Remember me on the left, they're going to be banning out the Malga Wright State Raiders. Going to be seeing the ban on the Pharah, so Makumi will not be playing, as he has not played in, I think, every game. Except, I believe, the first one here. We got a mid-fight. We got the two team comps coming in. Nightmare does find a great pick over here on the Lucio. But without the speed and the mobility and the tank, quite frankly, for the Raiders, going down quite low. Looks like it's going to get kited weird, going to fall down. With these picks, it's pretty much over for the Raiders. They're just going to be found out, killed. Neptune finding 3 in that fight. Nightmare with that crucial pick on to the Lucio. I'm going to see that we are still not have our things. There it is. There's the player outline. So we're going to go over to Neptune as he's sitting at 40% and counting. I lied. We're going to go over to Nightmare. But talking about it, you can see the two different styles of play for each team. Remember me handling much more of a brawl-centric comp. As we see, they are cleaning it up. Beautiful 3-piece by Raza. Jericho cleaning up the rest of the Raiders, following up. But remembering we have a much more standard Ramatra brawl. Jericho going over to onto the Reaper here. Raza, of course, being on the Ashe. While the Raiders are going to put more investment into this Vendetta composition, which we've seen off and on throughout the season. You know, you can see the Vendetta going to be the engage here. There's already going to bubble her. But the engage is not going to come, especially as the Raiders keep losing a support. As Raza finds it, Sam is going to be the first Remember Me to die, and the second, he's going to be the support line. So, support's not beating the accusation of them always dying first, but it doesn't matter, as Remember Me's coming up big here, finding the kills they need. 65% and counting. Go over here. Sorry, folks, it has been a second since I have casted, so forgive the minor production hiccups. Talking about hiccups, right now the only ult on the side of the Raiders is going to be this OC. They're at 83, so this might be final fight if they don't get their act together. Raza, of course, has this bomb. Neptune can very much build the Annihilation. Jericho already ready to rip this Death Blossom. As you see him finding the Sojourn, who is now at 1 HP and a Dream. Gets the Suzu. OC misses. Jericho's going to rip a Death Blossom for not 1, but 3 here. Of course, kills the Soldier last. Remember me taking an easy round here, 100-0 against the Raiders. El Rush, doesn't matter, El Rush. It was 100-0, so you did your job. Big ups to Nightmare and the rest of Remember Me, boys. This is the final 2 games of the series that we will be casting tonight. Of course, the Raiders are going to be the first one, and then followed by D-ranked Demons here. But let's focus on the game at hand. Remember Me has the opportunity match point to shut out the first map here. See a very standard spawn TP. We're going to go over to Raza, who is F1, as he has been a big instigator of these fight wins. We see the Diva comp coming out, pretty much basically the same compositions, except we have the Diva, we have this Baptiste on the side of the Raiders. Going to be a bit more sustain heavy on the side of Raiders. They're still trying to make this Vendetta work. Has not got anything done, as she's going to be the first to fall here. Immortality Field used on the side of Raiders. Raza with some beautiful dynamite through and through, recognizes this rotation too easy. But if Sam, of course, Sam is going to be the first one to go down on the side of Remember Me. Just standard Lucio things, not beating any allegation. Neptune going in deep, though, but with that Nemesis, with the Pummel form, it's going to be lights out for the Baptiste here on the side of the Raiders. It's now 20% favor of Remember Me to 0 for Raiders. They have not got a percentage in this game so far. And quite frankly, I think they need to switch. Talking about switching up, look who we have. I'll talk about it, but beautiful Dynamite going to catch 3, maybe 4, maybe 3 here. Suzu finally comes out to stem the burn by the Sojourn here. But another pickoff, so this aggression here on top has fallen flat for the Raiders. But before the next fight comes in, you can see Sam is grinding hard for those drives. I think he's already at tier 3, so big up to Sam there. Rest of the boys do not have that, or it might be just be a visual glitch. But talking of which, the fight is back on. The Kitsune Rush does not happen. Nightmare shutting that down immediately. Raza popping the Soj before anything can happen, really. And now we just got Baby Diva. Remember, he could have staggered that quite a bit more, but choose to finish the fight off. It is now 74-0. The Kitsune Rush no good for the Raiders here, as they're looking, honestly, at a sharp decline here. As remember, he's coming up with basically all 4 of their ults here. Of course, Sam going to be down a little bit. Not a lot of damage has went down onto his... I can't hear game audio. That is unfortunate. Glad someone mentioned that. But we're not going to finish it yet, as Jericho finds 2, Neptune finding a 3. This map is all but done, unless Remember Me somehow choke this incredibly well. But it's 99-0. Neptune finding the last kill on the Baby Diva, and the Raiders take an L on map 1. Remember Me up 1-0. Let me fix the game audio, because it should be pairing up. Alright, while we do that, we're going to go over to an intermission report as I fix my stream. Because for some reason, every time you update OBS, it breaks. Alright, see you on the flip side. Alright, Born to Be Fly. But talking about Fly, how have this season fly by? Remember Me looking to keep it alive here. Saravasa, they're up 1-0 against these Raiders here. God, that's depressing, actually. I don't know. Alright, they're going to be up 1 here on going to Saravasa. Current map bans are as follow. They banned out the Diva, which we did see the Raiders play, and the Raiders on the opposite side. Going to ban out Jericho's Reaper. Speaking of Jericho, not going to be playing the Reaper any longer. Going to be on that Venture. Remember Me playing basically a same comp, except for Nightmare, who's going to be onto this Baptiste. They're going to get rid of that Suzu. But for the most part, works. I would say would work for it. But Nightmare goes down, gets headshotted immediately. Jericho also found out, so they are down. Looks like this ball comp might... At least the Sojourn has the idea. So it looks like the Raiders are going to be taking their first percentages of this map coming in. But the Raiders are going to be playing this ball composition here. You see Nightmare making the switch over, knowing the BAP is going to be just harassed by this ball. They have a Sombra on the side of the Raiders, and going to be mirroring the Sojourn here. It's not going to matter, though. The Sojourn is going to be the first to pick. First to get a pick. First to get picked up for both opposing teams here. Nightmare does find the Lucio here, so that puts Remember Me fairly in control. It is a now 5v3 here, as Remember is going to clean up the Kiriko. No room to teleport over to. You see this ball just lurking around. Remember Me does not spot it, but they are slowly building up now. 21 to 41% in favor of the Raiders coming in here. Jericho very close to this at Tectonic Shock at 67%. We're going to go over to Sam as he's marking away, but Jericho here has the Tectonic at 69%. I'm hitting all the funny numbers here. Neptune getting forced in. Jericho going deep, gets headshotted, and is eliminated. A bit ambitious there by our boy. Uncivilized is going to be a really key standout player for the Raiders. Ball slamming his demons, but Sam's about to get slammed back into spawn. So remember, we are down 2 players. Jericho about to be joining him joining him. Neptune Raza does find the kill over here onto the Sombra. Wasn't paying attention to who he was firing at, as Neptune was the only one on point. The point does flip back into the Raiders' favor, but with 2 picks coming in for Remember Me via Jericho, it's 97. It's going to be 99 to 55. Will the Raiders try to fight for this point once more? You see the ball going out, and it looks like the rest of the Raiders going to give the first point up. Remember Me having some struggles with this ball composition, but end up finding the kill, the play needed. Talking about which, this fight's happening in their spawn, basically. Remember Me up right now, 3 players getting those kills. Let's go see if Sam can get this Lucio. He's wall riding. Which Lucio has better movement control, and it looks like Cadet gets out of here. Sam eventually does get out. Cadet keeping himself alive, but his team's already set up for the next point, talking of which just unlocked here in Gardens. Neptune Jericho step forward, mines used by the ball. Kitsune and EMP used. Jericho, though, much more effective, tearing up this dirt. Finds 2 with the excavation here. Finding 3, actually, on Cadet. Will he find some more? He's hunting this ball down. He's putting the damage. He's putting the work in. Jericho finding 4 in that fight. Fourth one, of course, being assisted by Sam and Nightmare. His support line coming up big here with him. Decides not to stick around very much longer, and that's a good thing. Talking about which, can we get some big trees in chat? We have a Life Weaver spotted. I have no idea what the Life Weaver adds to his composition. Lucio Life Weaver not normally ran 2 main supports. You don't really see that too often here. But after falling short on their Kitsune Rush, I mean, better than anything, that Sombra not going to do anything either, as Jericho finds a 1-2 combination, kills it, or can do any more damage here. File Driver comes out before the Life Weaver's killed. Jericho wants to hunt this down. Life Weaver 1 HP and a Dream, and it looks like Jericho, hold on, still looking for it, gets it, but trades his life out for it. So main support is traded out for a flex DPS. Remember, he's still fully in control at this point at 94% and counting. The ball's going to get the last touch. The OC by Uncivilized. Neptune going to run her down with that Annihilation form. It's going to be a 3v4. Beat out. Good for 3 here. Life Weaver is now coming back for it. But the rest of me is standing strong here. Sombra's EMP low. Jericho sees that. Gets a good burst into it. Talking about which, Neptune juggled around in some balls for a little while. Jericho finding 2. Life Weaver still on point. Raza gonna pop the cap into it. Not gonna make sure he doesn't get it. So Uncivilized and the ball here, further side of the Raiders, are still here. It looks like they're gonna cleaned up quite nicely. Now it's 2-0 for Gardens. Raiders still looking to get into this game. Going over to Palace right now. Remember Me with the alt bank they want. Sam Jericho has the alts ready. That is a beat and Tectonic Shock. Nightmare does have this Kitsune Rush coming up. Let's see if it's a bit more successful than. Only alt really coming up for the Raiders, though, is Life Weaver at now 80% and counting. That's going to be a big tree. And we do see the ball composition eventually switched off into the Ramatra. So he's going to be out without his second per week. So his Jericho could not even pop his dirt. Sam beat, good for 2. It wouldn't be a Remember Me game if Sam didn't get a 2-man beat. Love to see it. Here comes the Kitsune Rush. This one way more successful. Sam just standing in this vortex, eventually put down. Raza finds Uncivilized here. However, getting harassed by the Lucio. Neptune still fuller, very healthy. The pull comes in by Life Weaver. Neptune's quite healthy as everyone's looking at this backline of Raza and Nightmare. Not putting any real focus onto Neptune here. He's been able to stall this point out for quite some while to get the respawns back as Sam and Jericho from spawn come back. Jericho does find 1 more kill, but then is immediately thrown back into spawn. A beautiful hold and a misjudgment of focus fire by Raiders allow Remember Me to come back into this quite rapidly. Remember me now sitting at 20%. Raiders looking to get into this game. This is map point. If Remember Me captures this point, it's going to be over for Saravasa, and then we're going to head to match point here. Raza does find a kill. That Ramatra way extended from his team. There was no chance for him to help. But when you're running a Lucio Lifeweaver, is there much chance for you to even win this series? Of course, the Lucio does get that pull here. Talking about which here is the stat board coming into this. Raza, the only one part of that Deathless gang, but Jericho making sure he gets the Lucio down. He has a 93 to beat. OC comes out, enough damage done by Remember Me to really send the Raiders packing here. They had the Annihilation, they have the tree. Well, they had the Annihilation, they had the OC. Remember Me's going to play Touch Door Simulator, and that's it for Saravasa. That was unconvincing by the Raiders. Remember Me, shove them in their spawn and say, let's go next. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to catch you off the flip side of this intermission report, and we'll see you in just a second. Alrighty, with the sweet sound of the guitars going, I would like to welcome you guys to match point here on New Queen Street in good old Canada land. Home of the George. Hammer has yet to make them playoffs. Sad face. But, on better note, we have a Beaver comp. Everyone, we have Beaver. It's time to celebrate Sam on the Lifeweaver Nightmare on the Baptiste. God, I love to see that. We're going to see Neptune on a tank. We haven't ever seen Neptune onto this Orisa. On the opposite side, though, we have this Diva with a Lucio Wu Yang comp. That's not too bad, but it is bad if the Lucio is going to be the first one to pick off. And the Diva is already in death's door here. Raza going on this free, huh? On the opposite side, we have the cast. Jericho not minding that CC one bit, takes out the cast by himself. Neptune, of course, cleaning up the rest. Nightmare finds baby Diva. It is now on the way as Remember Me marching down Main Street. Talking about marching down, Raza 69%. Let's go over to his POV as he's currently on fire. I've currently been informed there's going to be a Lifeweaver duel at some point in this lobby, so as soon as I see the Lifeweaver come in, we're going to be watching nothing but Lifeweaver. But until then, we can admire Raza's aim here, as Remember Me coming up to this second checkpoint. Only need to really knock the Diva's health bar low enough to probably get this checkpoint. And it looks like exactly what's going to happen. Remember Me do get first checkpoint off one team fight, and Diva going low. Talking about going low, Raza needs to stop peeking that angle right now. A good pull by Sam keeps Jericho alive and kicking here. Neptune, of course, fighting here. Here comes the Diva engage onto Raza here. However, not effective in killing it. Remember, he backs up a little bit here, but it's going to push the bot right back to the barrier as the Diva let go of position here. So remember, he's going to get past it. Big tree, big window. Here comes the blender. Jericho finding baby Diva. Neptune finding one in the Orisa ult. What is Orisa ult called? And don't matter. Remember, he's quickly making short work of the Raiders here. Now at 84 meters and counting. Jericho's going to join the first death of Remember Me here, so Sam doesn't have to worry about that club anymore, as Jericho politely takes his hand into it. Terror Search, Terror Search. I don't know why I forgot Terror Search. But talking about ults, here comes in really early Russian Current, trying to find Nightmare. So far, no good. There it is. Nightmare going to be the second to go down by Remember Me. Sam putting a lot of damage in by this Lifeweaver here. Does not find the baby Diva. Focus fire not good enough. So Remember Me is going to finally, I wouldn't even say lose a fight. They just lost one here. Jericho, of course, going down. So I'm going to say Remember Me has finally lost this fight. They're going to back up. Sam trying to get out of here with his life. Eventually does die. Neptune gold. And it looks like maybe Neptune's going to fall back as a weird kite into the room isolates him from the healing as from his team. So Raiders do still have some fight into them, but they have to come back from a massive deficit right now. 102 meters to only 20 here for the Raiders. An interesting pull by Sam, but it is what it is. Only a 50% alt charge 2 tree. His second tree here in the fight. Raza, of course, still have not used this bolo. Here comes the bomb by D.Va. Not going to find any value here. Neptune finds it. Here comes the bolo shot. Going wide. Does not get the kill, but he does get the kill manually. Bobby is out. He's going to be the only one stalling. Remember me, just going to bully the Bob away. And they're back here. They did lose forward point checkpoint here, so they will have to get their... forward spawn, so they're going to have to get their checkpoint back. But that doesn't look like too much of an issue, as you see the Neptune on this horse, and Nightmare are going to be supporting them on a different angle. Going to be trying to take some pressure into this forward position here. Neptune doing it quite well. His support line now back at it. Immortality Field has to use... The excavation has been initiated, and it's good for the bones of a Cassidy. Here comes a window. I don't think there's going to get too much advantage from it. Sam and Jericho going down. Not going down. Finding the kills here. Necessary for memory. And they're back on the march. Now at 110 meters. We are coming dangerously close to it. A tree block in spawn. That's going to get cut down quite fast, but you love to see it here. We get some big trees in chat if you do have the emote equipped. Nightmare wishing he got some tree love, but as Neptune does get a kill, but does fall. Raza following a sip, so it is a 2 for 2. Right now, a 3. Remember, he still has this. It's a 2v2 right now. Kiriko versus a Lifeweaver and Jericho on the Venture. The D.Va is running away with the bot, though. Sam with some big trees in chat. Love to see it. Jericho and Sam are just spawn camping at this point. The bot has ran furly away, so it's just going to be the D.Va there. You see Jericho hunting this Ash down. This is just straight bully now. Jericho eventually does go down. Will Sam find the kill? He does with the explosive thorns here. Eventually, the two holding up the rest of the team do die, but the D.Va was also forced... Was killed? Killed or either forced back. I'm not quite sure here. But remember, he's setting themselves up quite good. They just can't finish the job right now at 125 meters and counting. The Raiders only sitting at 40. This D.Va so lost, waiting for the rest of her team, but Nightmare stepped forward to try to kill the D.Va. Does not get any value there. D.Va blows up her instantly, but you see this horse on an angle. Neptune needs some healing. Sam with a pull that only lasts... A pull that only is gonna... Yeah, that's a pull of all time. Fuck it. Talking about which, we see an ult in the back line. Jericho trying to kill this Ash. Does get it. Nano comes out for some reason. I don't know why the Nano was used. No one was engaging the D.Va at all. Eventually, Sam does fall, but does get the Ana in trade. So I don't remember when they switched to Ana, but they did. This is a mess by the Raiders, and I think Remember Me understands that they have this match in the bag at this point. You see Nightmare fighting this baby D.Va again. Eventually, Neptune comes up, eventually slays the baby here. Needs some health, needs some tender love and care. Ash is going to step forward onto the point. Neptune still needs some help. Eventually, he does get it. So Remember Me is back, and this is going to be the first team fight we've seen as 5. The Bob comes out on the side of the Raiders, immediately burnt. The tree is out, so another big tree. Jericho goes for the spawn touch once more, but is punished quite justly. Terror Surge with an Immortality, followed by a bolo shot by Raza. A beautiful 1-2 combo. I do get the kills here. Raza looks like he's going to push it in. This D.Va does not see it coming, and that's all she wrote. Remember Me take the Raiders 3-0 and are on their way to the playoffs.